Okay, I'll call to meeting call to order the meeting of the Kingston Springs Regional Planning Commission for April 9th, 2020. And now I'm going to read a statement that I need to read because we're doing it like this. So, I am Chairman Mike Patnode, and I hereby call to order the April 9th, 2020 meeting of the Kingston Springs Regional Planning Commission. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic and in accordance with Governor Bill Lee's Executive Order 16, this meeting is being conducted with limited physical public access. The meeting is being made available, however, to public participants via live video stream on the Zoom app. Now I'm going to call roll. Keith Allgood.
Present.
Tony Campbell.
Present.
Tom Cullen.
Present.
Tony Gross.
Present.
Brian McCain.
Present.
No, that's me, present. Glenn Remick.
Here.
Chuck Slater.
Present.
And Bob Stoller.
Present.
Okay, non-voting staff, Sharon Armstrong.
Present.
John Lawless.
Present.
Jennifer No.
Present.
And Brittany Stanley.
Present.
Okay, so we have a quorum. Let's see, note for the minutes and call by name, the members are, okay, so we did roll call, and for the purposes of the minutes, John, it says here, call by name, members are participating via electronic means. That should be everyone. Are you referring to the commission itself?
Yes, sir. So if you've done roll call already and everyone on the roll is participating via electronic means, then I think that satisfies that requirement.
Yes, everyone on the roll is present and they're all participating via electronic means. So we have a quorum, and now I have to add this item. The Kingston Springs Regional Planning Commission finds that conducting the meeting by electronic means is necessary to protect the public health, safety, and welfare in light of the COVID-19 pandemic. So I need to request a motion that the commission find this necessary.
Motion.
Okay, motion by Keith. Who was the second? Tom Cullen. Okay. Tom Cullen was the second, and now I have to take a roll call vote.
Hey, go get your mom.
Okay, so Keith Allgood, you're the first one on the roll call. Keith?
We're good.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
That means you agree. Okay.
Yes.
Tony Campbell?
Here.
It's yes that you agree with the motion.
Yes.
Tom Cullen?
Yes.
Tony Gross?
Yes.
Brian McCain?
Yes.
Mike Patnode, I say yes. Glenn Remick?
Yes.
Chuck Slater?
Yes.
Bob Stoller?
Yes.
Okay, unanimous consent to conduct this meeting this way. Okay. All right. The first, did you have something, John?
I'm going to share my screen, so we'll keep up with the agenda and any support documents that way.
Okay. So the first item after the quorum and those statements is to approve the February 13th Planning Commission meeting minutes. So I know all the commissioners have a copy. You received it. Does anybody have a motion to approve those minutes?
Motion to approve.
Was that Bob?
Yes.
Okay. So Bob made the motion to approve, and do we have a second?
Second.
Is that Keith?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, so now I have to do a roll call vote to approve the minutes. So yes, if you agree. Keith Allgood.
Yes.
Tony Campbell.
Yes.
Tom Cullen.
Yes.
Tony Gross.
Yes.
Brian McCain.
Yes.
Mike Patnode, yes. Glenn Remick.
Yes.
Chuck Slater.
Yes.
Bob Stoller.
Yes.
Okay, the February 13th, 2020 meeting minutes were approved unanimously. Now you have the agenda in front of you.
I don't.
Hey, John, are you having success sharing your screen? I see a funny message.
Yep, hold on. It did not like me.
Does everyone just have a copy?
Yep, I've got it right here.
Does anybody not have a copy?
I don't have a copy, but go ahead.
I don't have a copy.
I don't have a copy.
I've got it coming up right now.
Okay,
I think that, okay, there it is.
all right. So you have the agenda right there in front of you for today's meeting, April 9th. Do we have a motion to approve this agenda?
Motion
So
to approve.
moved.
Okay, who was the motion?
Chuck Slater.
Chuck. Who seconded it?
Second?
Tony?
Yeah.
Gross. Okay. Roll call vote to approve the agenda. Say yes if you agree. Keith, all good. Keith isn't in there right now. Tony Campbell,
Yes.
Tom Cullen,
Yes.
Tony Gross,
Yes.
Brian McCain,
Yes.
Mike Patnode, yes. Glenn Remick,
Yes.
Chuck Slater,
Yes.
Bob Stoller.
Yes.
Keith, are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you agree with these minutes for today?
Yes, sir. I apologize.
Okay. Okay. Living life. All right. So there's no old business. Under new business, there is a concept discussion for next level instructional baseball on East Kingston Springs Road, map 96K, Group C, parcel 28. The documents are included in your packet. Is anybody going to present that, John or Sharon?
Yes, Chairman, I'm here. It's Sharon Armstrong.
Okay.
We met with Next Level Instructional Baseball, the owners, and Cody Ginsburg several weeks ago. They have a concept. They would like to construct a 10,000 square foot building directly behind the Sonic facing East Kingston Springs Road on that lot that was previously the Dillard property. They would also like to include an outdoor baseball field. I have reviewed that concept and you will find notes within your packet. The three things that I can see from this distance of a concept discussion is that we will need a traffic study, obviously, because they're on a state road. Construction plans, parking, and the only other concern that I have is screening of the field itself so that no baseballs escape into the back of the Sonic. The other concern that I have is where the driveway connection will be. I would prefer that the driveway connection be as far removed from the intersection of East Kingston Springs Road and Living Hills Road as we can put it in, so that we can not present a further inhibitor to traffic in the area. So, and the applicants have expressed a desire to allow co-location of things like yoga classes, yoga spaces not in use for the high school or the middle school or the elementary school for activities they may have ongoing there. I include also in your packet a screenshot of their website. They do have a traveling roster baseball team called the Knights. I believe that the ages of those players are broken into teams beginning with the Little League age players, middle school, high school. They train college players for instructional baseball. They also train pro baseball players within the facility. I discussed within the requirements for the design review standards regarding metal buildings and those locations within Kingston Springs, and expressed to them that if the Planning Commission receives this concept warmly and is moving forward, their next step would be to present a full set of site plans and other requirements to the Planning Commission at your next meeting.
So thanks Sharon, but for that, it says concept discussion. Is there any action that the Planning Commission needs to take today on this
Yes, sir. In order not to visit a hardship on any applicant that proposes to develop within Kingston Springs, if they file a concept review application, the planning commission is to discuss the idea and then provide either positive or negative feedback. If you'll remember, that particular piece of property was the subject of a proposal last year for 100 apartment units. And
Right.
so we discussed that with the applicant. Unfortunately, the applicant had a meeting, but your feedback is necessary for them to determine whether they wish to move forward and present it formally or not move forward with the project. So they're just simply taking the temperature of the planning commission in regard to the proposal that they have for the land.
Okay, and I'm sorry, Sharon, I didn't hear. Is the applicant present in this meeting? Do you know?
They are here, but I believe they are muted because,
Okay,
but I saw Mr. Ginsburg and Eric, one of the principals of the company, were both in the video.
okay.
So I don't know if John has the ability for them to answer questions, but for them, you can't, the question, we have to be really careful how far we go with this discussion.
Okay.
It's the idea, the concept of what they want to do that you can do.
Okay. Okay. So at this point, will we open it up to the commission for questions?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we have Kobe Ginsburg. Welcome, Kobe.
How you doing?
Good, I see you on the screen there. And Eric, are you part of this too?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, thank you both for coming. All right, so I'll open it up to the commissioners, what questions you have for next level.
We also have one of our other owners is on here, Jason. I don't know if you can unmute him too.
Okay, I saw him. Somebody has, I think, their phone on and their computer volume on because I'm hearing that echo going around. So if you have both your phone on and your computer volume on, if you could mute one and stop the echo. Okay, so I'll start off with a question then, since I don't hear any others. As I look at the concept, what I'm not able to take away from this is how much parking do you anticipate needing when you're at your maximum use, whatever you envision that to be? And do you believe that this space provides, more than the maximum needed parking?
I do believe it has enough space to provide the maximum spots. At capacity for the building, you're looking at 30 people at max capacity, usually at a time. And then for the field, obviously you can gather 2 teams and a handful of parents and fans, which, probably is anywhere from, 75 to 100 people, maybe max.
Okay.
But I can't see both of those things going on at the same time, typically.
Okay, so you don't see the building operating at the same time as a baseball game?
I think that would be not particularly. I don't necessarily see a lot of business running the same exact time as games are going on, and so yeah.
Okay.
But I do believe there's plenty of parking on this property for us to accommodate.
So are you talking about, when you said about how many people, 100 people when you have a few teams on site and fans and parents?
Yes, sir.
And how many cars do you think that would be?
Typically, that's usually trying to factor in 3.5, 4 people per car.
Okay. So what I'm getting at is, in just from where I'm at, I like the concept, but traffic's always a problem there. But I'm thinking more about the parking. I would hate to see that we're bringing in something that when you're having big nights and there are people from out of town that if they can't find space in the parking lot, they're starting to get out on the road, on the sidewalk, trying to fill up other places and imposing on other places. So that's what strikes me, because I happen to work in some places where I see that happening a lot because it wasn't really planned for.
Mm-hmm. I definitely think there's enough room to accommodate the parking, no doubt. I think there can be a separate lot for the building and then also a separate lot for the field.
Okay. So Sharon, I don't know how to record that concern, but if this were to move forward, that to me, in my mind, along with the traffic study, early on, answering those questions in terms of expected auto capacity or auto needs and parking capacity, for the design of the lot.
Absolutely, Mr. Chairman, and if I may, the parking spaces are prescribed. There is actually an ASHTO manual for sports facility. Parking is calculated at maximum occupation, and it makes the presumption that both of the spaces are used at the same time. Given the size of the lot, that will help to predict that. And before we require the applicant to spend money on a traffic study or anything else, provide them with that data. We'll provide them with the number of units that are calculated for parking for the space. I had a question, if I might.
Please.
The applicants. Do you anticipate any shuttle buses or buses, team buses of any type to be coming to the facility for gameplay or training?
For our use, no. But if we were to involve the schools, then I think you would see potentially some buses there.
Okay.
But not for our use. Never have I seen a team roll up in a big bus or anything like that.
Okay, perfect. And the reason I asked that question is for the planning commission's edification. If that is a potential on the lot, we would simply set aside parking area for that to occur. So if it does occur, there's the overflow that would park in the business lots adjacent to your.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Other questions for
Yeah,
this
Mike.
item?
Mike,
Yes.
is this planning? Are they planning on this to be a lighted facility?
Oh, good question.
I think the initial plan is not to be lit, but the future plan is to be lit.
Okay, and then with the city ordinances and all, what type of are they going to be able to have enough light to do that there?
With the lighting system the way it is now for all these new fields that have been constructed, it's very low. It should not leak to other properties around the area. And we would be, obviously, if we go down the road of lighting it, we would be getting the most up-to-date, best technology you could find. So
Awesome. And just personally, is this going to be strictly a baseball facility, or is it going to be baseball and softball?
it's baseball and softball. We have 5 softball teams as well right now.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
So that's a good point, Keith, on lighting. And I just, back to Sharon, but we have specific, ordinances on lighting. And I'd want to make sure that as you're moving forward, you understand what the rules are. We've had some other people come in to build, and we had a few iterations with them because, they really had to get the lighting down to where it needed to be. So that's just another item that I'd hate to see you go too far down the road and not have a clear understanding.
And lighting isn't make or break for us. I wouldn't tell you that, but ideally we would like to have lights sometime down the road.
If I may, Sharon.
Yes.
We will discuss with him in our communication. I didn't want to go too far in the discussion of regulations and requirements until you heard the concept that they have site. Lighting in Kingston Springs is covered within the design standard. There is a lumen restriction. There are also restrictions about the escape of light from your lot onto other lots or down onto the street surface. We can provide you with those calculations. They're fairly common with night sky illumination. We successfully provided this to applicants over the last year.
Okay.
Okay.
That requirement.
So do we have any other questions for next level? Okay. So in Sharon, if someone were to make a motion, what are we saying? That we approve of the concept? Is that what we're saying?
Yes, sir. The motion is not approve of the project itself, but the motion and vote from the members would be to approve of the general concept so they can take the next steps towards design.
Okay.
Motion to approve the general concept. Glenn.
Second.
Okay, so Glenn was the motion, and who was the second?
Chuck Slater.
Chuck. Okay, so I'll take a roll call vote. Please say yes if you agree. Keith Allgood,
Yes, sir.
Tony Campbell,
Yes.
Tom Cullen,
Yes.
Tony Gross,
Yes.
Brian McCain,
Yes.
Mike Patnode, yes. Glenn Remick,
Yes.
Chuck Slater,
Yes.
Bob Stoller.
Yes.
The motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much, guys. You can stay on the call if you want, but Sharon, do you have anything else for them?
No, sir, other than I will be sending out an email follow-up to this meeting to give them guidance on next steps.
Okay.
Thank you
Thank
all
you.
very much.
you.
Welcome to Kingston.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the second item under new business, item B, is a staff request to waive a fee for planning commission appearance for Nourish Marketplace. Who wants to speak to that?
I guess that's in my territory as well.
Okay.
Marketplace, as you know, opened in downtown Kingston Springs. They were selling coated Christmas trees, wreaths. They also were marketing jarred and canned goods that had been pre-inspected by USDA for sale, fresh meat, fresh vegetables, those types of things. They at some point determined that they wanted to put in a commercial kitchen for the service of food eventually, and also to lease the commercial kitchen to caterers and other packagers of farm products. Somewhere in the mix, they did not understand that that constitutes a change of use, opening a full-blown restaurant in there. The building has never been retrofitted with a commercial kitchen before. It is a fire code requirement that it be inspected. It's a city requirement that the use, much like the distinction on the Patel property from a convenience store to a convenience store and a restaurant, the restaurant use had to be approved because of the distinction in the type of uses that they're doing. The market is open and operating. The commercial kitchen section is not operating as of this date, but they need the blessing of the planning commission in order to move forward with a commercial kitchen for both of those uses. First, for restaurant service within the building, and second, for the lease of the space to caterers and other small farmers who wish to model and sell their products. It is my understanding that your blessing also is required for the changes in zone compliance in order for the health department and for the Kingston Public to sign off on their plan.
Sharon, I'm sorry, I had trouble hearing you. It was kind of garbling.
It's also my understanding that they need the zoning compliance and clearance in order for the health department to approve the restaurant and for the Department of Agriculture to approve their final business plan for operation. So it is not a change in use, but I'm asking to waive the fee because of the managed process with incorrect advice. They were then interrupted in their process and told that they needed to come for the blessing of the planning commission.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Sharon on item B?
Motion.
No?
Waive the fee.
Okay, who gave the motion to approve?
Brian.
Brian, and did I hear a second?
Second.
Who was that? Chuck?
Yes.
Okay, thanks, Chuck. Okay, so we'll have a roll call vote. Say yes if you agree. Keith Allgood,
Yes, sir.
Tony Campbell,
Yes.
Tom Cullen,
Yes.
Tony Gross,
Yes.
Brian McCain,
Yes.
Mike Patnode, yes. Glenn Remick,
Yes.
Chuck Slater,
Yes.
Bob Stoller.
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes unanimously for the request, staff request to waive the fee for the Planning Commission appearance for Nourish Marketplace. So item C is change of use for Nourish Marketplace, 385 North Main Street, Suite 101. Is that you again, Sharon?
Yes, sir. The applicant, as I discussed in the request to waive the fee, requesting the addition of the use of a commercial kitchen for restaurant space, also for leasing agreements with farmers who wish to cater and or package and sell their produce, their local produce within the store.
Okay. Is there,
Motion to approve?
I move that we approve the motion to, for the change of use.
okay, so Chuck makes the motion. Brian, did you second it?
Sure.
Okay, wonderful. Is there any discussion or question on this motion?
Yes, this is Tony. I
Yes.
have a question. Will they have to meet, in other words, having the building inspector in there to meet all the city requirements as far as plumbing and all of those types of things?
Yes, sir. There is a state requirement for fire code to be met. We have plumbing code adoptions that will have to be met. This commercial kitchen will also be inspected by the state. They don't necessarily inspect every little thing, but they check to make sure that we have inspected. So all of those construction plans have been submitted, as I understand it, to the building inspector. He's in the process of reviewing those. I think they're in the final step of approval for the hood. Takes a rather large hood in a space that small. He's looking at that and working through that and giving guidance to the applicant.
All righty, thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or discussions on item C, change of use for Nourish Marketplace?
Mike, Bob Stoller.
Yes, Bob.
Question to Sharon. Sharon, what constitutes a restaurant?
A restaurant is plated and cooked food that is served to customers from a menu for which fees are charged. They are defined as a restaurant by the health department. It's a small service restaurant. Some of their product, it comes from sources outside of their farm. Some of it comes directly from their farm, but they plate within the building. They will also plate and serve it as Sky King and other businesses do. Sometimes on the exterior of the building, that use was approved, if you remember, Mr. Stoller, several years ago by the Planning Commission to have outside service for several of those locations along the road. So that's what constitutes the definition of a restaurant. It is open to the public for food service.
So is there a minimum seating requirement?
There will be, there's not a minimum seating requirement, but there's a maximum seating established by fire code.
Okay,
Is that good, Bob?
fine.
Okay. Any other questions? Any other discussion? Okay, so we have a motion to approve by Chuck and a second by Brian. Do a roll call vote here. Let me get my little list. Where did I put? Here it is. All right. If you agree, say yes. Keith Allgood,
Yes, sir.
Tony Campbell,
Yes.
Tom Cullen,
Yes.
Tony Gross,
Yes.
Brian McCain,
Yes.
Mike Patnode, yes. Glenn Remick,
Yes.
Chuck Slater,
Yes.
Bob Stoller.
Yes.
Okay, so the motion passes unanimously for change of use of Nourish Marketplace. Thank you for that explanation, Sharon. Okay, so item D on new business, it says discussion only McPherson property. Who wants to present that?
Thank you, sir. The McPherson property, the project plans did not make the deadline for submission. They're still working on those. My understanding is the holdup is the landscape architect submitting the plans for that for full plan disclosure. At our next meeting, we will begin a short discussion on the PUD agreement that lies between the Planning Commission and the applicant and all. We have already assigned the PUD overlay through the City Commission upon a recommendation from the Planning Commission. So I just wanted you to be aware that it would be coming up next month. I will be sending out some material in the interim, giving you sort of a heads up for how a PUD agreement and a development agreement are done. As discussed previously, all utilities from the sidewalk will belong to the property owner. We will not own nor maintain utilities on the site. And we will make sure that the preservation of the right-of-way access and easement to the adjacent property is maintained as well. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. That's all we have for it.
Okay, thank you, Sharon.
Welcome.
Item E, the last item on the agenda, Tennessee Agricultural Statutes Training.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I sent out a couple of pieces of information for you to begin to look at regarding agricultural statutes within the state of Tennessee and how that impacts zoning regulations and ordinances and that interaction. If you could please review those before we meet in person again or online again. We will not be doing the training tonight because of the brevity and the need for brevity tonight in the virtual meeting. I can't display anything to you on the screen.
Damn it.
Somewhat the discussion for the Dunvegan and Cummings property that we had last time we met. So that's a good training for all of you to begin to dive into and how it impacts your inability to apply zoning to agricultural uses and property.
Okay, so you're asking us to review these handouts before the next month's meeting?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Is there any other discussion before we adjourn the meeting?
Well, I might want to point out that this may be a record. I did not make a motion, nor did I second one.
Noted.
Dog bark.
Okay. So John Lawless, is there anything else we need to do before we adjourn this meeting?
No, sir. I'd like to say very nicely done, Chairman, and thank you all for modifying your normal routine and presenting and participating in this virtual meeting.
Okay, thank you all very much. See you next time.
Wait. Motion to adjourn.
Oh, yes, thank
To
you.
adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, do I need a roll call on that, John?
I think we're sufficient right now.
Okay, all right.